Okay, hello friends, I am Matt Wells, commonly known as Shorty, back again with another video for another book. I finished a book called Turning Pro by Steven Pressfield. Tap your inner power and create your life's work. This is, if you saw the last video that I did, it was for The War of Art, and you know that also by Steven Pressfield, and my next book is going to be called Do the Work, also by Steven Pressfield. I've actually already started it, as you can tell, but I'll finish that one here in the next day or two, and we'll do a video on it as well. But for today, let's talk about Turning Pro. This is a book, and I'm really looking at these three books, The War of Art, Turning Pro, and Do the Work. I'm really looking at them as one book because it's the same theme running through. It's a continuation. It's almost like the next chapter and the next chapter of the same book. It's, like I say, a continued theme. Excuse me. I just came back. Excuse me. I just got home from Cracker Barrel. I went to Cracker Barrel with some friends tonight, the Moody's and my buddy Charlie, and it was really great seeing friends. I hadn't seen any of these friends in too long. As a matter of fact, it was the first time I've seen any of them in real life since I started growing a beard, so I thought that was interesting. And Gene's got himself a beard too as well. Anyway, so I just came back from dinner with friends at the Cracker Barrel, and I really I'm tired now. I want to take a nap, to be honest with you. But let's do this video real quick, and then I'm going to go take a nap. So anyway, Turning Pro by Steven Pressfield. Tap your inner power and create your life's work. So it says on the back, you don't need to take a course or buy a product. All you have to do is change your mind. Turning pro is free, but it's not easy. When we turn pro, we give up a life that we may have become extremely comfortable with. We give up a self that we have come to identify with and to call our own. Turning pro is free, but it demands sacrifice. The passage from amateur to professional is often achieved via an interior odyssey whose trials are survived only at great cost, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. We pass through a membrane when we turn pro. It's messy. It's scary. We tread in blood when we turn pro. What we get when we turn pro? What we get when we turn pro is we find our power. We find our will and our voice, and we find our self-respect. We become who we always were, but had until then been afraid to embrace and to live out. That's from the back of the book. I've got some notes here, and basically the idea of this video is to simply be a glimpse of the book Turning Pro. It's not a book report. This is a book that you will be well served to read and study. He notes in the very beginning of this book that he can divide his life really neatly into two parts. He talked about before turning pro and after turning pro, and he says that after is better. What ails us is that we are living our lives as amateurs. The solution, this book suggests, is that we turn pro. Becoming pro, in the end, is nothing grander than growing up. Ooh, that's kind of hit me a little bit. I like that. I like that a lot. The difference between an amateur and a professional is in their habits. An amateur has amateur habits, and a professional has professional habits. And the results that they get are different, too, as a result of those habits, of course. Excuse me. Just had a really big breakfast for dinner time. The cool thing about Cracker Barrel is they serve breakfast all day, which is cool. I think the whole table, we all had breakfast meals too. So it was like, I don't know, was it almost 9 o'clock? Must have been 7 something in the evening. We're all eating breakfast. Anyway, the book suggests that when we're living as amateurs, we're running away from our calling, meaning our work, our destiny. That's interesting. Ooh, this was really good too. The amateur remains inauthentic. He remains someone other than who he really is. In his heart, the amateur knows he's hiding. He knows he's meant for better things. He knows he has turned away from his higher nature. The amateur is easily distracted. Sure sign of an amateur is he has a million plans and they all start tomorrow. I can identify with that. When we turn pro, we stop running from our fears and we turn around and face them. Turning pro is like kicking a drug habit or stopping drinking. It's a decision to which we must recommit every day. 12-step programs say one day at a time. The professional says the same thing. The amateur spends his time in the past and in the future. He permits himself to fear and to hope. The professional has taught himself to banish these distractions. And it talks about how athletes play hurt. Warriors fight scared. the professional takes 2 aspirin and keeps on trucking. Treat it, and then I put in the notes here, treat it like a job. This is something that I heard through my profession of network marketing. We talk about often in our business, we talk about treat it like a business, right? Like you treat it like a habit, like a hobby, and you're going to have a hobby result. Treat it like a business and you'll get real results. But oftentimes, many of us don't know what that means, to treat it like a business, right? We've never had a business, so people coming into our business, network marketing, oftentimes have never had a business before. So we tell them to treat it like a business, but that's hard. You know, we don't know what that means. So I like the idea, treat it like a job. You know, whatever it is that your goal, your aspiration is, whatever it is that you're working on, that you're trying to turn pro in, be it as an artist, as a fill in the blank, right? Whatever it is. Treat it like a job. And what I mean by that is, I know right now I have a full-time job. I know right now there are days when I get out of bed or when I have to get ready for work that I don't want to go. It's raining or it's cold or there's a million other things I'd rather do, you know, or whatever. I just don't want to do it. But you know what? I go to work. So treat it like a job. Treat it like a job. What that means is do it when you don't feel like doing it. You know, if you're an aspiring novelist like the Steven Pressfield, he's a novelist. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance and a whole bunch of other books and novels and whatnot. So that's his thing. That was his journey of turning pro. And you know, for someone like him, the advice would be sit down in front of your computer and just start typing. Don't worry about if it's good or anything like that. Just get into activity. Start doing the things. Turn pro, you know, by golly. Anyway, that is a glimpse of Turning Pro by Steven Pressfield, a book that I cannot recommend highly enough. So anyway, thanks for playing along. Thanks for tuning in to my channel. Oh, I want to mention too, some interviews that I put in. I punched Turning Pro into YouTube, and I found a wonderful interview with him and Chris Brogan. Interview with Chris Brogan interviewing Steven Pressfield. I'll put that in the description box. And then also, someone who I was new to is MarieTV, Marie Forleo. And I've got a lot of love for what she's doing, and I've subscribed to her YouTube channel and watched a lot of her videos. She interviewed Gary Vaynerchuk recently as well on the new book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, which is over there on my kitchen. I'm not going to grab it, but it's going to be probably the next book or so that I read after Do the Work. So I'll be doing a video on that and linking up that video of her and Gary Vaynerchuk. But for now, look in the description box. There'll be a link to that interview with Steven Pressfield with Marie Forleo on MarieTV talking about Turning Pro. And that is a wonderful conversation that I highly recommend. If you're interested in reading this book or interested in hearing more about this book, you can hear it directly from the author on both of those interviews that I'll link in the description box. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting before I sign off and say good night? No, I think we're good. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you want to get the next video and all this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And you can hit me up on Twitter at Shorty Wells. There will be something right around there that maybe you can click on or something like that to hit me up on Twitter. But anyways, I am Matt Wells, commonly known as Shorty, and thank you for tuning in, and have a good night. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.